welcome back to Political Agenda. Allow me to introduce my panelists joining me tonight from Kuwait capital, Dr. Fahd Alshelaimi, the chairman of the Gulf and Peace Security Forum in the Gulf. From Moscow, Vyacheslav Matysov, a political analyst. Thank you, sir, for joining me. Last but not the least, Dr. Ibrahim Nahas in the studio, professor of political science at King Saud University. Thank you, sir, for joining me. Let me start the program with Dr. Fahd Alshelaimi. Dr. Fahd, in breaking news last night, you were a supporter of a very decisive military action within Yemen before we go into the outcome of the meeting. Now we see the liberation of the Anad strategic air base and military base in Anad after Aden, within 14 or 2 weeks time. First of all, what do you say about this victory of the Yemeni National Resistance and the Yemeni army supported by the coalition forces?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hussein, I would like to welcome your both honorable guests, and I am pleased that I share with them this panel about our issues here. But the opening of Anad is a strategic base, and the opening of Al-Anad base, air base, is represent morally a moral value. Anad has a historical battles has been fought in Aden since 1994. And capturing Aden is sending a clear message for the separatists and the Houthi forces. That is the legitimacy of President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi will be restored. The coalition are decided and sure that we will restore this legitimacy. I think we are also insisting to defeat the collaborators of Houthi and former President Ali Abdullah Saleh. So the capturing of Anad is the ignition switch to another victory on the way. We do not want to see more blood, so we hope that the Houthi and his allies will listen to the voice of minds and sit down for a political discussion in the next few weeks.
Dr. Ibrahim has also the same question to you. Yesterday, the good news of recapturing Al-Anad Air Base, which is the most important historic air base which was built by the British Army, like in the early, until 1962, Al-Anad was one of the most important air bases in the Arabian Peninsula. Now the National Army of Yemen have gained the territorial gain in Al-Anad Air Base, making a good solution or a good way to liberate the remaining areas of especially the southern Yemen. How do you see the achievement of the resistance, of the Yemeni resistance, in yesterday's declaration?
Yeah, actually, you said it's a good news. I say it's an excellent news, actually, after returning Aden. When we go to other cities in Yemen, that, as you said, the air base of Al-Anad, as you mentioned, it's a historical base, air base, and still for the Yemeni people right now, it's a basic return for their actually sovereignty from the Houthi and Abdullah Saleh, the later president. This good news, actually, it's very important for two reasons. The first thing, that show the world the Yemeni resistance. The Yemeni legitimate government are working very well to return their country to themselves. The second thing is good for the public opinion, that inside Yemen and outside Yemen. For the Yemeni people, it's good for them that after many months they suffer from the Houthi and from the bad life, actually, that brought by the Houthi and later president. And that's good for us here in the GCC, actually, and that those people supporting the legitimate government of the Yemen. When we see this return and the successful of the resistance for bringing Al-Anad, that mean our work for the last month and our support actually for the Yemeni government and for our groups, our troops in the Saudi border there, that bring
helps the morals.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's very important actually to show the world who didn't actually that time talk many words or good words against Houthi. That time the United States, for example, didn't say anything, accuse actually for the Houthi. They stopped their talking. Right now they return to say, yeah, it's
yesterday's in Doha.
Yes, and the other point for bringing the airbase of Al-Anad, actually, that show the good life for the Yemeni people would back, bringing good life for the Yemeni people, and hopefully this will be a good step and a nice step for bringing other big cities like Taiz and then Sana'a. And the future of the Yemeni people and the future of the sovereignty of the whole Yemen, actually, it will be very short to come back, and Yemen will go back actually to be a good country and a good life for the Yemeni people.
Okay, and this occasion we would like to congratulate the legitimate government of Yemen, presided by Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi, the president of Yemen, and his government, and hopefully the victories will continue until all Yemen is liberated. Now back to our main topic of today, and let me go to Mr. Matusov in Moscow. With the foreign ministers of the Gulf countries met with both the foreign minister of Russia yesterday and today, and also Secretary of State Kerry. First of all, sir, in Moscow, how do you read, as a political analyst, the 5+1 agreement with Iran over its nuclear program? And are you optimistic after the signing of the nuclear deal that will be more peaceful for the region, or are you still pessimistic as some of the countries here in the region, Mr. Matsov?
I can say that Russia was the mostly interested side to support negotiations for 5+1 with Iran. And our interest is dictated by our geographical and political situation. Like the Gulf states, we have common borders with Iran from the north. Gulf states, they have Arab Gulf states have the common border with Iran in the south. So no state in the world is interested in spreading nuclear weapon on their borders. And that's what the reason why Russia, by collaborating with Iran on nuclear researches, very attentively watched not to give any chance for spreading military program in Iran. And peaceful situation, peaceful nuclear researches in Iran began not by Russians, by the Western countries, because we know that Western Germany began constructing the first nuclear power station in Bushehr in Iran, and Russia took it after they refused. So I think that in many cases the stand of the United States and the Western countries in negotiations 5+1 was motivated more politically than technologically. Technologically, we have no objections at all for strict and absolutely clear, transparent program of nuclear researches. And this point is common for all: America, Russia, Europe, and Arab states. So I think that in any case, what we reached, the agreement right now, at the big document, 30 or 60 pages, I think that it contained a very important thing. they don't let Iran to return to in any form into military programs. And I think that now it was the chance to bring a peace without instability for Middle East without any nuclear bombs. I think that this agreement will open door for discussion of Israeli, for example, nuclear bomb that we're speaking about quite a lot. Because if it was not, it is not led to Iran, to Arab states to work in this field, why Israel is engaged in military programs of nuclear weapon. I think that this situation, it is profitable for all the participants, for the United States, Europe, Russia, and Arab states, because it brings Iran into family of states, Gulf states, and they give the chance to cooperate politically and get out of any efforts to bring, to spread any kind of anti-governmental positions and so on. I think it will bring peace to Yemen, to Libya, to Lebanon, to Syria, and to Iraq. I think that all situation can be more easily settled if we, all community, world community, find common language with Iran and the states of Middle East. I think it open very good perspective. I hope that this agreement will be the beginning of constructing new stability and security regime in the Gulf, or all the Gulf area, dependent on Gulf states, not from other. Russia doesn't seek any privileges. Russia is open, and I am happy to watch the Russian.
We'll continue speaking about the role. We'll continue speaking about the role of Russia, but let me go to my guest in Kuwait, Dr. Fahd Alshelaimi. Doctor, the Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif wrote an article published in several Arab newspapers yesterday. Let me quote of what he said: "We must all accept the fact that the era of zero-sum games is over, and we all win or lose together." He wrote in Arabic, backing his statement with some verses from the Quran. In your point of view, nonetheless, Iran remains in a struggle with Saudi Arabia and its allies for regional primacy. A deadly bombing in Bahrain last week, which government linked it to Iran. In your point of view, how would you look at what has been wrote by Javad Zarif and the relations with the Gulf states?
Making a public affairs campaign. You will hear very good words, and you will read very good words about peace, security, stability, and the cooperation. On the other hand, you will see the vice versa. The Ayatollah Sayyid Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iranian revolution, had said the opposite. We know that the center of gravity in Iran is not President Rouhani, is not Mohammad Javad Zarif. The center of gravity and the supreme leader of Iran is Sayyid Ali Khamenei. He is the supreme spiritual leader for the Iranian Republic, or the Republic of Islamic of Iran. So what we will see is a good words for foreigners, and if I may say, an evil actions against us. And if I may add something, Kerry came to the area not to prevent any Iranian threat. He came to promote in his campaign, because he will face a hard debate in the American Congress in the next 45 days. Half, 50% of the Congress are rejecting the agreement. They said we could have make a better agreement than this agreement, this nuclear agreement. He came to promote that, then he will carry our approval to the Congress, mentioning that our friends, the Arab state, are also agreeing on that. And we should be keen and clever of that. This is one. Second, I think...
Go ahead.
The most important thing, that is, we will see the winner and the losers. The winners are United States. They were able to disarm or preventing Iran from acquiring WMD, weapon of mass destructions, or the nuclear capabilities for 5 or 7 or 8 years. Israel will be secure. Russia will have some interest. There are 6 substations, sub-nuclear stations will be built on the Gulf in the upcoming years. The European will invest $300 billion in it. The American will secure Israel and will have a role, and they might have another investment. Who's the losers? Us, the Gulf states. I think we should carry the intervention in our internal affairs will be the primary and the most important file in our discussion with the American and the Russian, if they want to be mediators between us and Iran. What is called a tactical file, which is the intervention in our internal affairs, is represent a strategic file for our countries. And I think that is the different, and that's why I call United States is not a fair partners. United States is a partner looking for profit, and they don't want to help you if you lost. And that is what is shown. My word is hard, but that's the truth.
Okay. Dr. Ibrahim, also yesterday's meeting, before there was a preparatory meeting by the Gulf ministers, the Gulf foreign ministers, and then a trilateral meeting between Jubair, Lavrov and Kerry. We'll speak about the outcome, but in general, yesterday Salman al-Dosri, the editor-in-chief of Al-Sharq Al-Awsat وانتن العربية, as Dr. Fahd a while ago just mentioned, he says that Kerry came for PR, public relations, more than giving solutions. The Arab states are still unsecured of the outcome of the agreement between the 5+1 and Iran, and they are afraid that without a nuclear bomb, Iran will be left to intervene within the Arab states, especially when Al-Ja'fari, the head of the the Revolutionary Guard, mentioned that we are controlling 4 capitals in the Arab world, referring to Beirut, Baghdad, Sana'a, and Damascus. And they mentioned fully in many occasions that Baghdad is the coming capital of the Sasan Republic. As a political analyst, how do you read the threats or what has been said by Rouhani, by all the leaders, when unfortunately Ali Khamenei says the opposite of what his foreign minister and his president says?
Yes, Iran, with its constitution and with actually its practice in the region long time ago, since Khomeini 1979, and still continuing the same policy that
exporting the revolution outside and intervening in the other countries.
And they call it a revolution. We call it actually a chaos. They want to bring a chaos to the region using different ways, but all these different ways built on terrorism, supporting terrorist groups, terrorist people, bring people they work for the Iranian interest instead of working for stability and peaceful in the region. For that, when we talk about the agreement, actually, since we say it's good to stop Iranian from going to be a nuclear country without a nuclear weapon, that's good for us to stop it from going to that. But this one point, the other point, What about the Iranian policy, practice policy, supporting terrorist groups, terrorist parties, like in instability in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Syria, supporting Houthi in Yemen? These policies bring a lot of questions for the United States, for even the 5+1 who signed that agreement with the Iranian. When we talk about the Iranian policy, very important point for the public opinion outside this region. We are not talking about sectarianism, Shia against Sunnah. That's very important point for the international world to understand. We are all Muslims. Whoever you follow, that's your point. What we think about, just we think about policy. What we look for it in the future, we look for stability. Who support policy, who support stability, who support peaceful in this region, we will work with him, no matter whoever. Iran, if want to go actually to support stability, work with us in these reasons, we would work with Iran like what we did actually during the Shah, even Shia and Sunnah. So this Shia and Sunnah sectarianism brought with Khomeini actually, and still the Iranian policy, as you said, when the supreme leader talk about intervention in Bahrain, intervention in Yemen, and the Iranian old policy would continue, that these policies should bring a lot of question even to the United States. We know Mr. Kerry said in Cairo actually, Iran is a country supporting a terrorist and terrorism groups. So this is a good policy from a good talk from the United States. But where is the United States policy? Where is Obama when he signed this policy? Not mention bringing terrorism and supporting terrorism and call Iran to stop from going to these bad policies. No matter what this agreement is good or bad, we think about other things actually. We can in Gulf state with time by time we can have our nuclear weapon. This our scientists can work for it, and our government can. We have a lot of.
But
money
we
to
don't
support.
want a race for.
We don't want to go to military things. We want to develop our system, develop our education.
Peaceful nuclear
Yeah,
sites,
we want to
as we signed with Russia recently.
Yeah, and bring development for our region. So wars doesn't bring any winner. That's a loser always. And we hope actually the meeting that held last night and would held in the future with the Russian actually foreign ministry work for peaceful. Peace would bring actually
renaissance and development to
for
the region.
all the world.
For the whole,
Terrorist,
for the whole region.
the Iranian policy would bring disaster for all the world. So this is a good point to understand for the world.
Okay. Mr. Matsov, sir, Recep Tayyip Erdogan yesterday mentioned as the outcome of his meeting with President Putin that the Russian president mentioned that Russia is not willing to go all the way supporting Assad. Now let's go in details about the conflicts in the region. We'll go first in Syria. The trilateral meeting yesterday between Lavrov, Kerry and Al-Jubeir they were concerned over the situation in Syria.